What's up, everybody? We are live. Welcome to the Sunday night edition of the Sports Bar here on WTF Nation Radio. I am your host, King Smith, and we are back for the second episode, baby. Shout out to everybody that has popped into the chat already. I give an early salute to each and every one of you. All right, we are streaming across multiple platforms here. You can find us on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. All right. If you're in the chat and you can hear me, let me know as my audio looks to be a little funky right now. All right. Audio looks to be a little funky. Let's see. We have Bridie POW in the building with the cactus sticker. Salute. We got Spanky in the building that said, "What's up, y'all?" or "Hey, y'all." Bob Bulow said that the sound is good and fine. Thank you. Leah Buck, salute. All right. Were y'all excited about the NFL playoffs this upcoming week? Okay, that's the biggest news that I have, although there was various sports news that occurred over the past week, and we are going to go right into it. Okay, we got some good sound. Everybody, thank you for letting me know that the audio's fine. All right. So here at the sports bar, I like to bring a little bit of comedy into the mix, a little bit of news. What I realized when I was building today's show is that the news that I'm going to start with seems to be a little bit on the dark side or on the tragic side. So I'm just going to jump right into it. All right. When I take a look at events that occurred over the week, for those of y'all that remember who Evil Knievel was, his son, Robbie Knievel, was a stuntman in his own right. He recently passed of pancreatic cancer after being in hospice care for 3 days. So that seemed like somebody that knew that his time was coming. His family was aware as well. But Robbie Knievel himself did 350 jumps on a stunt bike or a motorbike and holds 20 world records. What I find interesting about that is this. Ain't no way you gonna catch this guy on any kind of motorbike jumping across something that's even like 2 feet. It's not happening. The level of cojones you have to do something like that is, I can't even imagine the adrenaline that must feel like to jump over the Grand Canyon or, you know, 30 feet across anything. One of the videos that he's known for famously jumping is across the, ooh man, I'm gonna forget the name already. It's one of the fountains down there in Vegas. All right. He made a jump with fire and everything coming across. And when I saw that the news had passed, I had forgotten that Robbie was just as good as Evil Knievel was in his own right. Okay. So rest in peace to Robbie Knievel. There was a question on it if it was pancreatic cancer from Michelle in the chat. Yes, yes, it was. It was pancreatic cancer at the age of 60. All right. The second news that I have on the weekly recap is UGA lineman Devin Willock. All right. Like I said, we're starting the show on some pretty somber news. What am I doing over here? But UGA lineman from the national championship team, the University of Georgia Bulldogs, passed away in a car crash late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. He was riding or a passenger along with one of the a recruitment staff in a single car accident. I can imagine that the families of both parties are reeling from the loss of a loved one. It would be extremely sad to have a teammate if you're on that team or part of the staff. You're just coming back from celebrating, a national championship. You're starting the recruiting process to get other young people onto your football team, and at approximately 2 a.m. Sunday morning, you get that kind of news. All right. So rest in peace to UGA lineman Devin Willock and the recruitment staffer that passed. We had news about Priscilla Presley passing as well. Yes, that's not sports related news, but Chris, I appreciate you highlighting that as well. Look, 2023 is starting off interesting for a lot of different things. All right. In sports news, it's been a very interesting sports news already. And in the rest of the world as well, yes, Priscilla Presley, which the headlines for her passing read as wife of, and daughter of. And she was an accomplished person in her own right. Okay. So to lead that off on the headlines, I think was a disservice to her. But she also passed recently as well. May she rest in peace. Okay. Now, I see somebody that said go Bills earlier in the chat, and there is a go Giants. We're going to get into that. Okay, but first I need my assistant to play my music, so it's just not me talking in the background. Yeah. There we are. All right. So let's move me over to this side. Get this over here as well. Look at me finishing stuff on the fly. All right, and let's get into the next notes that I have. NFL playoff news. Seattle, try as they might, got crushed by the 49ers 23-41. Nobody is surprised by that at all. If there was anybody that really thought that Seattle had a chance with Geno Smith, which Geno had a record-setting year, albeit in a year in which there was an additional NFL playoff game. Geno tried, almost got there, but that 49ers team looks good. They're my early favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. Is there anybody else out there in the chat that has the 49ers as an early favorite? Appreciate the feedback, everybody that said that the music was too loud. Let's see if I can lower it here. All right, how's that? If I can't get that lowered, I might have to stop it altogether. But let me know in the chat here if that music and background is fine. All right. Look, this is a show for the people, by the people, and I appreciate the feedback. Absolutely. Much better. All right. Thank you. Going into the next set of news here, the Dolphins tried, and they actually looked pretty decent today against the Bills, but ultimately lost 31-34. And that really surprised me, especially when you think about who the Dolphins came in with. The quarterback that they had definitely played well. That game picked up in the midway through the second quarter, because at first it looked like the Dolphins had no chance, but they came back and won. I'm going to get into that Chargers Jacksonville game next. The Chargers were up 27 points going into that game. And I've got a display here of the new LA Chargers logo. All right. I was a former Atlanta Falcons fan, and there's been some recent losses and comebacks that have occurred that have made the Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl loss to the Patriots game not look quite as bad, although the stakes were higher. Nobody thought that the Jaguars were going to come back and win that game. At one point, Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions. In the first half, I want to say 2. Okay? So to overcome 4 interceptions and still win a game says a lot about that team's resolve. Says a lot about how bad the Chargers are. And now I think you're going to start seeing Jaguars fans coming out the woodwork, okay? And how do I say this? Duval doesn't stand a chance, but I like to see people supporting their team and happy about what is going on. Coach from the sports bar said, nah, buddy, this year nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Okay. All right. Chris says, I like watching the Django and me. I am more interested. I appreciate that, Chris. I appreciate that, my man. I will be here every Sunday unless something tragic happens, like my computer blows up. Then we'll have to figure out how I'm going to make this stream work out. Also, what I found, Coach Kingsbury, the former Arizona Cardinals coach, got fired and apparently bought a one-way ticket to Thailand and said, I ain't coming back. There is a community coming out called the Passport Bros. And it's been pretty interesting. People have been traveling in things for a long time. But the former Arizona Cardinals coach apparently got a one-way ticket to Thailand. And I think that news has been blown out of proportion as far as him going there and not coming back. You legally can't do that unless you have some type of visa that allows you to stay that long. But when you have money the way that he does, you can buy yourself a one-way ticket, travel on your visa, and then, you know, once your visa is up, unless you get it extended or you have some other sort of visa that allows you to stay in that country, then figure out when you're going to decide to come back. All right. But he got fired and is now on vacation in a whole nother country, and I ain't mad at it. If I would have got fired, Thailand would be on my list of top destinations to go to as well. When I was in the military, I had a chance to visit Thailand. Thailand is a lovely country. All right. It is a lovely country. It is right by the beach. The food is fantastic. All right. And people go there to have a good time. All right. So if you get the opportunity to go, whether you go to, a lot of people know about Bangkok, there's Pattaya, and there's other cultural places that you can go and visit as well. All right. So to Coach Cliff Kingsbury, hit me up. You know, I'd definitely like to interview you on the sports bar and figure out how your time in Thailand was. Let's move myself back over to the center. All right. What else do we have here? The Giants. The Giants won today. Big Blue. All right. 34-21, in which they were favored to not favorite. They were projected to be losers of that game. So the Giants beating the Minnesota Vikings today is the first underdog victory of this year's NFL playoffs. Michael Carasquillo in the chat is a huge Giants fan. He does the Pop Culture Warrior show here on WTF Nation Radio Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern. And if you look at his backdrop in the background, he has a lot of memorabilia to go with pop culture things as well. And some of his prized possessions are really freaking cool. He has an authentic NFL helmet replica. And I hope I'm not giving this away, CQ. My bad if I am. But he has an authentic NFL replica. Not authentic replica. An authentic NFL helmet that they would wear in a video game. In the NFL game, and it looks fantastic. It looks fantastic. All right. So he's happy that Big Blue won today. I wish I could have seen his face as the game was kind of back and forth in the fourth quarter. But look, Danny Dimes looked good. Danny Dimes looked good. He looked poised. The defense did just enough. Minnesota, though, They just didn't look like they were put together on offense. I watched the first half of the game, but couldn't finish the second half as I was show prepping for tonight's live stream. Okay? But the NFC, New York Giants, lives to fight another day. Let's check and see what the comments are saying. We got Casey Gray says that I got a D-Long jersey from back in the day. Salute to you. Chris lost a $50 bet that you had on the Vikings. Hey, look, I would have lost money if I bet on the Vikings too. All right. Because the Vikings were my pick from last week to go into the next round beating the Giants this week. I honestly didn't think that the Giants stood a chance. Going into the next game, and there was a comment earlier from Michael Carrasquillo. He said, Mr. King, do you think that the Ravens have a shot tonight? No, I do not. Okay. The Baltimore Ravens are going to be playing. Matter of fact, they should be towards kickoff now. Game is at 8:15 Eastern on NBC. And it's weird considering that this was the same matchup that was the last Week 18 game just last week between these two teams. But in a game that didn't matter a whole lot, you didn't see a lot of the starters playing. Without Lamar Jackson, I don't believe that I said Baltimore earlier, my bad. The Baltimore Ravens have a chance of winning this game. Plain and simple. I just don't think that they do. All right. Which sucks because y'all know I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan. All right. Let's bring this back up here. I got to fix this, which is something I'll do later on. I don't think that the Baltimore Ravens have a chance. Cincinnati is favored to win by 8. And I think that that spread is going to be a lot bigger than that. If you're in the chat and you think that Baltimore stands a chance, let me know. Without Lamar Jackson, they're going to apparently do a mix of quarterbacks between Huntley and Anthony Brown. Personally, I like Brown, but the young kid hasn't had enough playing time for the average person to really evaluate what his talent is. Obviously, he's talented enough to be active on the roster, but I don't know much about him. And if Huntley's throwing shoulder is still hurt, and they do a mix between Brown and Huntley, the same way that colleges do with two quarterbacks, what kind of rhythm can you really get in? You're going to need and hope that the other team makes mistakes and Cincinnati doesn't make any mistakes. I watched them play the Pittsburgh Steelers about a month ago up in Pittsburgh, and watching how Joe Burrow and that offense runs up and down the field, it's a thing of beauty. It is a thing of beauty. Brevard County Mugshots talked about the Jaguars game and how they turned the game off in the jail when the Jaguars were down. Wait a minute. There's TVs in jail? Is this for the inmates or for the staff that's working the jail? You can go to jail and watch football? All right. Mike CQ said that the game is kicked off. All right. It is 0-0, but the Bengals are driving. Thank you for the update. I have a couple of other things here that I want to cover, but that is the playoff news that I have for this weekend. I know that tomorrow you've got Dallas versus Tampa Bay, and that game is going to be broadcast on ESPN and ABC. The Dallas Cowboys are favored to win by 2.5, but I just don't think that they have what it takes to stop Tom Brady. Tom Brady and that offense has looked good over the last 3 games, and I'm going to take recency and the 40-year-old legend over the Cowgirls. Oh, my bad. The Cowboys, and that the Buccaneers and that defense are not going to let Tom Brady ride off into the sunset on a loss on his first ever losing season in his career. The sports bar coach over there says that everyone in primetime will see another Dallas disappointment and that the memes are going to be great from Brevard County Mugshots. Absolutely. Cannot wait. Look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. I hope I'm not wrong. Let me make this a little bit bigger. That's what she said. All right. Chris said, when is the next time you are live and what should we call you? Excellent question. Okay. I go by King because King is indeed my government name. Most people on WTF Nation Radio have a call sign. I do not have a call sign yet. So as of right now and today, yes, I go by King. Thank you for asking. I should have said that earlier in the stream and I apologize. But yes, King is indeed my government name. It is what I pay my taxes on. And the sports bar goes live every Sunday on WTF Nation Radio across YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Every Sunday at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time Zone. All right. Michael Carasquillo said, when I'm wrong, I'm right. I've heard that before. You know what? People know that if I make a sweeping declaration, vote for the opposite. Put your money down on the opposite team. I am making a sweeping declaration that Tampa Bay is going to win tomorrow. So if you want to gamble and make some money, go put your money on the Cowgirls. Oh, man. Casey Gray said, you're going to get one big bear. XO love butter bear. I might have messed that message all up. All right. And yes, King is a good enough name. It is. It's a strong name. The king of sports. The king of Sunday night sports bar on WTF Nation Radio. If you don't know who I am, let's do a recap. I'm a U.S. Air Force veteran. I was an in-flight refueler on the KC-135 and played sports myself in high school and a little bit of semi-pro action post-high school while I was serving the Air Force. I was primarily a one-sport guy. I tried basketball, but at 5'8", basketball is not for me. Football was. I was a tailback back in the day. Did pretty decent. You could actually find my highlights on YouTube as well. I wish that they had cell phones the way that you can record cell phones and things now and put your highlights out there on social media. The exposure that kids across various sports and prep school have now is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay. And with some good editing, my average self back in high school could have made myself seem like I was the next Deion Sanders. And there might be a video of me doing a backflip somewhere on TikTok and or YouTube as well. We got an update. Breaking news. Sort of. Cincinnati drove down the field and kicked a field goal and is now up 3-0. All right. Hey, fly, baby, fly. Brevard County Mugshots asked, did I fly the fuel tip? Yes, I was the boom operator on the KC-135. I controlled the boom stick that refueled the other airplanes in the air. Loved the job. Absolutely loved the job. It was one of my favorite jobs. It allowed me to travel Thailand like the former Arizona Cardinals coach did. And I've been to like 20 some odd different countries in my young 20s. Absolutely loved the job. Got a chance to meet some amazing people, learn some different cultures. All right. Tried some different sports while I was out in other cultures and stuff as well. And I wouldn't trade that experience in for anything. I've been out of the military since 2011. Got retired as a sergeant because of a heart condition. Speaking of which, I'm glad that I found out about that heart condition because lately in the news, there's been people that have tried to link the jab, the pokety poke, the beer virus to a lot of reported heart conditions that people are dropping from. And from my perspective, that's just not the case. I think that there's just more awareness of heart injuries when they happen and they occur, because we have more knowledge. You know, having a smartphone allows you to have access to information just like that. So in my opinion, there's a little bit more exposure to people as they have these medical conditions that occur. My heart condition got found out about after I was in the military. And it kind of got found out flukishly. Like, I didn't have a heart episode and drop to the ground or anything like that. I was set to deploy for like my 11th time. And somebody improperly checked out my flying records. So in order to make sure that I was medically cleared to deploy, I had to redo my medical clearance, which included a copy of my footprint and an EKG of my heart. 3 technicians and 6 EKG runs later, people were panicking because my EKG was weird. And everybody said that I had the weirdest EKG that anybody has ever seen. They sent me off base to a cardiologist. They did what's called an echocardiogram. And in that echocardiogram, I got a heart diagnosis. That was big for me because knowing about that heart diagnosis was vital, as I was playing rugby and semi-pro football at the time. The wrong hit from rugby and semi-pro football could have led to my death. And I wouldn't have known, because people don't have those checkups in high school the same way that colleges and pro athletes do. When you get your sport physical in high school, it's typically a visit to your doctor or general practitioner. They're looking at surface level stuff. You don't get an EKG. Typically, you don't get an EKG. Even in college, depending on what level you play and what sport you're playing in college, you also don't get an EKG. You don't really get an EKG until it's determined that, you know, you might be going to the next level and people are going to be making a significant investment in you. So when I'm hearing people trying to put the beer virus and the pokety poke as one of the reasons why a lot of these athletes are dropping, I challenge that a bit. I don't know the statistics, but I challenge it a bit. Okay. Elizabeth Hillenren in the chat asked, what is this show? This is the Sports Bar, one of the radio cast, sportscasts that WTF Nation Radio does on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. There is 6 shows that they have right now that covers various topics. My show is called The Sports Bar. This is the 2nd episode of The Sports Bar, and I plan on offering a variety of entertainment and sports related news in the way that I know how to do it. So I appreciate you tuning in tonight. Thank you for this being the first time that you have watched. And if you're watching this on Facebook, which it looks like you are, hit that like button, okay? And come back and see me. We're going to have a myriad of offerings, and each episode is going to be different. It's not going to be the same as I work on the show and produce it and get feedback from you, the viewers. We're going to make this product be an even better product. Klaus asked if I'm cold. Yes, I am. I'll tell y'all where I live. I live in Maryland, and it is cold. And even with the lights and stuff that I have on in here now, this is one of the first times that I'm actually cold. I'm a big dude. Big dudes rarely get cold like that. People come to big dudes during cuddle season to warm up. And if my lady is still watching this show, she knows that I give good cuddles. All right. Salute to Chris, who wrote in the comments that his son did 6 years. I'm going to assume Chris is a he. My bad. The pictures aren't quite that big. See, Your son loaded F-15s and F-16s. I definitely refueled them. But he got bored and joined the Army. What are you going to do that for? And you were in the Army 22 years? PTSD, bad. I'm proud of you and your service. Hey, Chris Leslie, salute to you. 22 years is an accomplishment. So salute to you, your son, and thank you for your service. Brevard County Mugshot said that they tried to learn rugby from the Australians in Kandahar. Hey, quit a bit of time with them at a nude beach in Perth. Oh, quite a bit of time. Spent quite a bit of time with them at a nude beach in Perth. Let me tell y'all, if you were in the military and had the chance to hang out with the Australian military folks, they're definitely different. Those dudes know how to get down. I had a chance when I was deployed to hang out with the Royal Australian Air Force pilots, and they make service look fun, even on a desert deployment. So salute to the Royal Australian Air Force and those guys over there. Yeah, they crack me up. I've got some stories that might not be able to share on air, but we always had a good time hanging out with them. All right. Michelle, when I said cuddle, says that she still is watching and she might agree. You might agree? Do I have to give you more cuddles so that you can agree? I know what you mean. I know what you mean. And Cincinnati just intercepted Baltimore. Who's the quarterback that threw it? Was it Brown or was it Huntley? I think if Huntley shows that his arm's just not there, Brown's going to come in. Okay, yep, I see it right here. Huntley pass short to the right for Andrews, intercepted by Davis Gaither, giving Cincinnati a short field. Look, if Baltimore scores over 6 tonight, that's a win in my book. I just don't see them having the offense that's needed to beat the Cincinnati Bengals team. Captain Wayne Baconator said, "Go Chiefs! Go Chiefs!" Salute to Captain Wayne for popping into the chat. All right. Let's see. Let's get here into some of the other things that I wanted to cover. There's a Netflix series called Breakpoint that's about tennis. I watched the second episode. If you get a chance to go over there and check it out, check it out. I know nothing about tennis, but since I do a sports show, I figured I'd try and get smart about it, consume myself with sports media, and checking out Breakpoint was pretty interesting. It asked the question, and it made me think about this. With a lot of the sports legends that are retiring and done, who's going to be the next face of tennis? Why should people care about tennis? I've never been to a tennis match. And the closest I've ever been to a tennis court is one that lives right by where I'm at. And I stepped on the court just to see if the court was like bouncy rubbery or if it was like hard concrete. That's the closest I've even been to a tennis court. Has anybody been to a tennis court or a tennis match and played? Let me know. And I heard that the music's getting louder. All right. I'm going to have to work on my mixer and fix that. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate the feedback, Casey Gray. All right. Look, tennis is just one of those sports that people don't care about. Yeah, let me take that back. There are people that care about it. I have a good friend who plays and travels, and from what I see, has done pretty good. She's not a pro player, but she plays doubles in tennis and has made some money doing it. I also heard that it's a very expensive sport to get into, so if you're going to do it, don't do it as a hobby. But if we have any tennis players, y'all let me know, because I would definitely like to understand the sport a lot better. Coach from the Sports Bar said that He actually went to the U.S. Open in Queens in 1997 and saw Pete Sampras. Hey, salute. Okay. Also, for the baseball heads up here, spring training is set to begin in the middle of February, and today in Major League Baseball is what's known as International Signing Day. 31 players from the top 50 in today's International Signing Day came from one country. Guess what country 31 of the top 50 international MLB players came from? I want to see if y'all can get this one. I wasn't surprised. I was not surprised at all. And I'm going to check out the chat while people attempt to answer my question. Where did 31 players from the international player pool, where did they come from, as today was International Signing Day? We got David Cunningham said Venezuela. The Sports Bar said Japan. Chris Leslie has Cuba. All right. Okay. One person was close. One person was definitely close. All right. 31 players from the top 50 of the international prospects came from, oh, hold on. Let me, the question, KC Gray, where did, of the top 50 players that signed MLB deals today, where did 31 of the top 50 players come from? What country? Said I got distracted. That's all right. That is all right. There's a lot of things going on today. I appreciate the people that take the time to check in to the Sports Bar. All right. So, Casey Gray, I'm going to read yours and then I'm going to give the answer. All right. So, Casey Gray said Mexico. Heath Barlow. Ding, ding, ding. 31 of the top 50 players that signed MLB deals internationally today are from the Dominican Republic. I thought that was interesting. 12 of the prospects in the top 50 are from Venezuela, 3 from Cuba, 2 from the Bahamas, and 1 from Korea and Mexico. Okay? So to Heath Barlow, I give a salute to you. I'm going to send you a virtual ribbon. I'm going to have a virtual ribbon that gets displayed when I give the shout out to whoever answered the question properly. That was interesting to me. I like that a lot of the sports that are popular in the US also are expanding across the borders. And the cool part about this show too is we have people that watch from all around the world, according to the analytics. This is my second show, but I ask questions. Where are people tuning in from? Let me know where you're tuning in from if you don't mind disclosing your location. You can say, I am tuning in from the Ironclad Bunker in Reno, Nevada, or Area 51, and I'm going to say shout out to you. He says that he's full of knowledge and is the trivia king. I need you on my trivia team then. I'm the sports guy for trivia. I know a lot more than just football and basketball, which is my top favorite stuff. I just know random sports facts. And Heath, you should get all of my trivia questions. I'm going to have to dig deep for the trivia questions then when I do trivia segments on my show. The goal for people when I have a trivia question, which I'm not going to have one this week, unfortunately, but the goal is to beat Heath for the answer when I have my sports trivia. All right. We got a Ziwaba GA. Did I read that right? Myrtle Beach, South Carolina checking in. North Kakalaki. Alton, Illinois. I don't know where Alton is, but salute to you. I tell people that I'm from Anniston, Alabama, and if you have military knowledge, then you know where Anniston is at because there was a former army base that used to be huge back in the day. Now it's on the map, but people don't know where it's at. I'm currently in Maryland right now. Tuning in from Southern California. All right. Let's go Royals. Kansas City Chiefs all day. Kansas City, Missouri. Did I say that right? Missouri? I went to go to a Kansas City Chiefs game back in 2009 to 2010 when my cousin played for the Chiefs. I have a cousin who played pro ball, played for the Chiefs, the Patriots, and the Colts. He was on the Patriots team when they went all the way and went undefeated and lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl. He was on that Patriots team, started, played on defense. His name is Michael Richardson. Michael Richardson, I would love to have on my show to do an interview with, to just talk about life as a pro football player. You know, how is it like to play against some of the greats? He practiced against Tom Brady and Randy Moss on the regular. I also went to go see the Kansas City Chiefs game when they had the running back. I think his last name was, I forget his last name, but he set one of the top 5 rushing records of all time. The Browns at the time had 2 running backs, and I was doing fantasy football, and I had both of the Browns running backs on my team. All of the analysts said, play running back A. Well, running back B went off in that game, and I lost that fantasy championship game by like 2 points. I have to look this up. Hold on a second. NFL rushing records. NFL single game rushing record. That Jerome Harrison, that's who it was. Jerome Harrison ran for 286 yards against the Kansas City Chiefs. My cousin was playing on the Chiefs at that time. I was salty because the other running back had been playing a lot more recently, and all the analysts said, play that other running back. And Jerome Harrison balled his ass off in that game. And I'm just sitting on the sidelines. Actually, I wasn't on the sidelines. I was in they had like a player suite where if you were gifted tickets from the players or whatnot, you had like a certain access that you could go to and a suite that you could watch the game from. And I'm sitting there watching that game, shaking my head. Shaking my head. Coach said that he's from his mother. Salute to you and your mother. And Michael Carasquillo was right. He said, I just did a trivia question. Hey, look, doing trivia on the fly. We got a Twitch viewer that's checked in. Pelican said, what's good? Yo, Pelican, what's good with you? I appreciate you tuning in from Twitch over there. Twitch doesn't get a lot of love on platforms unless you're gaming, or licking microphones. So to have somebody pop in on Twitch to the Sunday Night Sports Bar, salute. End of the first quarter report from the Sports Bar media specialist over there. It is still 3-0. All right, with Cincinnati on the Baltimore 7-yard line. Captain Wayne Baconator Adgerton, let me know if I said that right, Adgerton, said that you bet that I had a wild time. I did. I absolutely did. Okay. That was a wild time watching that player run all up and down the field. And I'm just sitting here like, what is going on? Okay. Score update in the Cincinnati-Baltimore game. It is 10-0. We have a touchdown from Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase. All right, from 7 yards out, and the extra point is no good. So it is not 10-0. It is 9-0. David Cunningham, you jumped the gun, my man. You cannot assume that those extra point kicks are going to be automatic. So, correction, score update is 9-0 Cincinnati over the Baltimore Ravens. Okay. So, the next 3 things that I have I don't have a top five for today. As you see, no signal. There is going to be no top five for this week's episode. Boo me. But I have three things that I'd like to cover before we close out today's show. First thing I want to cover. Imagine if you're up 27-0 and you decide to take 1.4 million because you almost have a guaranteed win to make $11,000 and you lose it. Well, somebody did that.
If you find yourself having a bad day today, just remember this. Somebody bet $1.4 million on the Chargers last night after the Chargers went up 27-0, and all the bet would have paid was $11,000, and that person lost. And that person wasn't you. Have a great Sunday.
Hey, who has $1.4 million that I can borrow and make bets? I will send you my Cash App. You can wire the money to me. Because look, let's be honest with you. That was a surefire bet that I think a lot of people would have taken, knowing that it was the Chargers against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And to have $1.4 million to place a bet, you're thinking, yeah, I'm going to make this easy $11,000. You know, that person probably wipes their behind with $11,000. Let's play that again.
If you find yourself having a bad day today, just remember this. Somebody bet $1.4 million.
Right there on the screen. $1.4 million. All right. Which the line was minus 1250. I can't read and say numbers at the same time. Okay. So when you take a look at the money line, I can't quite give a full education on sports bets, but the amount that you win is based on whatever the money line is. So this was just a straight up LA wins over Jacksonville type of bet. And that's almost guaranteed money when it's 27-0 and you're thinking, all right, I'm going to make some spending money with this bet. And they go on and lose. Oh, man. That's the Elon Musk level of losing money. MD Cost says that sounds like a Mattress Mac style bet. Mattress Mac. I would love to get Mattress Mac onto this channel as well. That dude makes big bets. And he's made some big wins, but also has some pretty big losses as well.
On the Chargers last night after the Chargers went up 27-0, and all the bet would have paid was $11,000, and that person lost. And that person wasn't you. Have a great Sunday.
So look, as long as you didn't make that $1.4 million bet and lose, I bet that your day is going a lot better than that person. All right. Somebody asked in the chat, why are we closing already? This show is eventually going to be from 8 to 10 p.m. Being that it's so new, I don't have 2 hours of content just yet. All right. But keep on coming back. All right. Every Sunday, 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern, as I build the show up, have more content, and bring you guys entertaining sports news. KC Gray said that we can help. I mean, look, people that know me know I can talk. I can talk. I can fill 2 hours. But I didn't plan for 2 hours today. But I appreciate people wanting to watch and come back. All right. Next thing up. If y'all recall when Odell Beckham got escorted off of an airplane, he tried to make it seem like people were out for him. Okay. And that he was sleeping and got woken up and that he could do no wrong. The public perception of Odell Beckham seems that way. Seems that he's a big crybaby. Teammates that have played with him like playing with him. People don't have a bad image of Odell Beckham as a teammate. But the public perception is the guy can be a bit of a diva. When I was in aviation, my job as the in-flight refueler, when I wasn't passing gas in the air, was also to be the PAX monitor whenever we carried passengers. If we had under 10 passengers, I was doing double duty. I was the area refueler and the passenger monitor slash flight attendant, essentially. If we had more than 10 passengers, then we had to have an additional crew member whose primary responsibility was to take care of the passengers. Now, in aviation, whether it's military or civilian aviation, you have standard rules that you have to apply. For example, seatbelts must be fastened during critical phases of flight, anytime turbulence is experienced, or if the pilot tells you to. And essentially, if anybody else other than the pilot in the aircrew tells you to, because they operate under the authority of the, it's called like the aircraft commander or the pilot in charge, PIC. Okay. So if anybody in the flight tells you to buckle up your seatbelt prior to a critical phase of flight, like takeoff or landing, you must comply. And they're supposed to go and check and make sure that it's done. And if one person chooses not to buckle up their seatbelt, they stand a chance of getting removed from flight. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. All right. So Odell Beckham gave his story, and recently the body cam footage came out. Y'all be the judge and tell me if y'all agree with Odell Beckham and his version that he was just asleep and didn't know, or the airline stewardess who made the claim that she told him to buckle up his seatbelt and he refused to do so.
Miami-Dade officers called to the departing flight, knew which passenger the crew was calling belligerent, not buckling up. NFL wide receiver Odell Beckham was on the phone. 9:30 that Sunday morning after Thanksgiving, Beckham said he was sleeping hard, tired from traveling, told the crew he'd been clubbing.
Do you want me to text and shaking him to put his seatbelt on and keep his phone?
If you don't want him to fly, that's a decision that you guys are going to have to make. Unfortunately, it's not our decision.
To officers, Beckham downplays the actions that prompted the captain to return to the gate and order him off the plane. He stays seated, learning his actions will force everyone else to deplane.
We're going to have to deplane everybody on this plane, and then you're still going to get off. That's fun.
Beckham watched and was on his phone while everyone around him had to pack up and get off. When one of them said something, he unloaded. In a police powwow down officers forecast the finger pointing and media circus to come.
Once I got everybody off, every police is subject to trespass after warning. If not, if I can get him off peacefully.
They finally escorted him off solo, first reporting he seemed sick. His attorneys first blamed the crew. He himself later tweeted, "Comedy hour," though the body-worn cameras never did show anyone laughing.
Okay. So, as y'all see, according to the flight attendant, she had said that she had told him multiple times to put on his seatbelt and that he was sitting on his phone. They eventually asked him to deplane, which it seemed like he refused to do so. So what did they do? They got everybody off the airplane. He was last to get off, and then he had to walk past everybody, putting the flight behind, possibly causing it to get rescheduled. There's a whole lot of things that occur in the background if something like that were to happen. Sometimes flight plans have to get refiled. And all because, according to the flight crew, he refused to put on his seatbelt. Now, Odell Beckham is somebody that has traveled hundreds of thousands of times, okay? Probably personally and professionally. So to have him act like a diva and pretend that he don't know what the rules is baffling to me, especially on a commercial flight. If you are doing a private jet, flying on a G4 or a G5, you might could get away with not having your seatbelt fastened up if the people that are on the aircraft, look the other way. And if you're somebody that watches this show and have a G4 or a G5, let me know. I want to get a G4 or a G5 flight. All right. feel like, royalty a little bit for the king. I know a couple of pilots that are G4 and G5 pilots based on my time in the Air Force. And they have some really cool stories about passengers and some really cringy stories as well. All right. Casey Gray said that you got more questions. What questions do you have about what had occurred? I don't have any more questions based off of that video. You said wondered if he needed attention. It does seem, like I said, he seems like a diva. Seems like a diva. All right. Chris said that he was drunk and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. I agree. How many marshals were on that flight? I wanted to be an air marshal. I figured that if I didn't re-enlist and I didn't have a heart condition, being an air marshal was something that would have interested in me, as I was used to already traveling. And, I knew what the aviation laws were, and I would have been interested in going through the training if I was old enough and in physical shape enough to do it. But him holding up that plane, that would have made me mad. Pretty sure it made everybody else mad. And he's got the opportunity to fly private. I wonder why he didn't do that. Casey Gray said that you would have liked to have been an air marshal too and just people watch, but that you're too old now. And Ice checking in said flying makes me sleepy. Hey, look, being awake on those flights, it has a physiological effect on you that some people say can age you faster than the average person. And for the spec ops people out there, they might say something like jumping out of airplanes and wearing 50-pound rucksacks can age you a whole lot faster than flying in cushy air-conditioned flights for 20 some odd years. And to that I say tomato, tomato. All right. So look, y'all let me know. Would y'all have sided with Odell Beckham even after watching that video? Or do you believe the story as it pertains from the air crew and the stewardess? And while y'all put that in the chat, I'm going to read some comments. CQ said he's flying commercial because of that Bitcoin paycheck fiasco. Hey, cryptocurrency's turning around, my guy. Cryptocurrency is turning around. I still think that cryptocurrency is going to hit past six figures. I'm sorry, Bitcoin specifically is going to hit past six figures. And if I'm wrong, y'all can come back to this show and tell me that I'm wrong. I trade in cryptocurrency. I've made a little money doing it. I understand blockchain technology. And I have a couple of sports NFTs on DraftKings. It is my speculation that maybe over time it can be profitable as we go from what they're calling Web 2 to Web 3. Okay? I think that with cryptocurrency and sports, you're going to see blockchain technology be used in a way that in 15 years from now, it's going to be the new norm. DraftKings has already integrated NFTs into its sports betting platforms. FanDuel hasn't done it, but I wouldn't be surprised if in about 3 or 4 years they do. Okay. Does anybody else here trade cryptocurrency or even know what the hell cryptocurrency is? Let me know. Casey Gray said that on a Germany flight, you slept hella good. Was it first class? I still haven't had a first class flight. Technically, every flight I flew, being that, I was in the cockpit, you can kind of call first class. It wasn't quite comfortable. I flew in the KC-135. And for those of y'all that don't know, the KC-135 was built in the 1950s. Those jets go from 55 to 65, and some of those jets are half a century old, still flying. Salute to the KC-135 crews out there. All right. King said, let's talk about the Georgia staffer and player dying in the automobile accident. Hey, David Cunningham, thanks for that comment. I did talk about it at the beginning of the stream. It was the second story that I covered. Very unfortunate. The only thing that I saw about that I didn't include earlier was there any reports of alcohol, or was it just a player being tired? Because it's my understanding that it was a single car accident. If you have any additional news other than it being a single car accident and there was any alcohol being involved, put it in the chat and let us know. Jeff Albano, hope I said that right, said, great show, and agree with me 110% that he was being a diva. Casey Gray said it appears he didn't put on his damn safety belt. Big baby should have just put it on. Absolutely. And what is AATW? Heath Barlow, I need you to explain what AATW is. Chris said, what is going on with the Kobe crash investigation? I'm going to be real. I haven't kept up with anything on any of the updated news, so I can't speak on that as I don't have any knowledge on it. All right. And Baltimore's in the red zone. They've made it. What? I said that he's flown on the ground floor of the C-17. I'm sorry, the floor of the C-17, and that it was the best. Yo, C-17 flights, they're quiet. They're able to be temperature controlled a lot better. The KC-135 was loud. If you had a chance to fly on like the KC-10, a C-17, or the new KC-46, I heard is luxurious. Okay, I'm trying to get a flight on a KC-46 myself. And David Cunningham said that it was 3:43 a.m. in the morning. Yes, look, as you're going on a recruiting trip and you're traveling, it seemed like they were coming from an event. Don't know if they were coming from the club as well or a party where alcohol is involved. You typically assume two things. A, alcohol might have been involved, especially if it's a single car crash. Or B, they were just tired. If you do enough driving and you're not well rested, like I've put miles on the road, traveling from West Coast to East Coast. When I was stationed in Kansas, I would drive from Kansas to Alabama because I like driving. It was cheaper than flying. I just put a lot of miles on my car. And one time where I didn't get enough rest, I almost got into a single car accident myself. And, I was driving at a high rate of speed and could have lost my life. So when the news comes out about that UGA player that died, the offensive lineman, I'm hoping that it wasn't alcohol, whether it was rest or car failure. I mean, what other reasons could you have? Two people lost their life. Loved ones have lost their loved ones, and may they both rest in peace. Airborne all the way. We got multiple airborne people in the group. What? And the Ravens scored. Hold up. See, I told y'all when I make declarations, don't listen to me. We have a touchdown from Tyler Huntley to J.K. Dobbins. The score is now 9-7, Cincinnati up. Did not expect Tyler Huntley to even score at all today. I figured if they got in, it would be on the ground between J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Or maybe a quarterback sneak from Huntley or Brown. Brown's a versatile athlete that can run or pass. That much I do know about him. So I was definitely wrong again, and CQ called me out. All right. And I see the score as 9-7, but somebody just said 9-9. That must have been a typo. I appreciate you putting that in, Jeff. All right. Chris Leslie said, being tired is just as bad as being drunk when you're behind the wheel of a car. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. The same effects from being tired also mimic being drunk in aviation. And we have to watch out for signs of that. That's why in most big passenger aircrafts, there's two pilots in case one pilot, something happens. And there's this thing called hypoxia, which is like a lack of oxygen. Aircrafts are generally pressurized, and you have oxygen tanks in case something happens and you have a lack of oxygen. But being hypoxic is just as dangerous as being drunk. And when you're talking about operating something like an aircraft or a car for that matter, being tired and sleepy is just as dangerous as being drunk. Absolutely. And like David Cunningham said, the KC-46A is now the Air Force's new refueler. I know people that flying on it as this year, 2002. I enlisted in 2002, so 2022 would have been my 20-year mark. I still have peers that are pilots and boom operators, and some of my peers are on the KC-46 now. Because I got medically retired, I have all of the rights as a retired service member has, and one of those rights, or you can call it a perk or a benefit, a benefit's the right word, is Space A Travel, which stands for Space Available Travel. And the way that the Air Force regs are set up is that if a air mobility craft is flying or operating between, two different places or overseas, if there is space available, you can hop on that bad boy, sign up to fly, and go for free essentially from one place to another. If you're crossing across the pond or over the water, international, you pay what's called a head tax. All right, but it's basically like a customs fee, 20 some bucks. You can legit get from Maryland, which is where I live, or you can say Jersey, to England for like 30 bucks. Okay, as long as there's room, you can go. I plan on taking as much space available travel as I can in my 40s. I'm 38 now. If there's anybody in the comments that has done Space A, y'all let me know. It's a fantastic benefit. I've used it a few times, only stateside though. I've never used it to go overseas, but you bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be taking advantage of that here over the next couple of years. And Casey Gray said that you're looking for travel buddies. Hey, Casey Gray, I'll hit you up. I'll hit you up. Right now, I'm 38. I'm working. Okay. I'm looking at reducing my liabilities, so to speak, and get my income game up so that I have the funds to be able to travel a lot more. But I tell you what, traveling is a way to open your eyes to the world. Okay. I definitely plan on taking advantage of that too. And if you want a Space A to Hickam, one of the best ways that you can do it is to fly to California. You can get from California to Hawaii for free and then have a nice little vacation. Jeff said that they've backpacked through Europe, man, and started from Dover and went to Greenland. Salute to you. See, that's what you got to do. Live life. I like it. And Casey Gray said that they're 100% PNT and got time. Ha ha, bet. Nothing but time and opportunity. And I'm only going to travel with the vets. Salute to you, Casey Gray. Casey Gray said that they would like to know how the service dogs are faring on hops. My reports on that, I can speak from what I've heard. It's no issue. The regs are written in a way that, it's favorable for service dogs. And I haven't heard any of the air crew say that they've had any issues with people bringing their service dogs on Space A flights. The same is for not the Space A flights, but the chartered flights. What are they called? The rotator that it's a government chartered flight, but it's on a regular civilian airline. Okay. And you have the regular regulations of what civilian airlines have, and service dogs are allowed on flight. Somebody in the chat, I'm going to see if he's still listening. Somebody in the chat has flown with his service dog on a regular airline, and the rotator, which is like a military charter flight, follows regular civilian airline rules. Okay. Only issue are people, not service dogs, but service dogs are allowed. Okay. Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam. Yep, that is Hawaii. All right. I have One more thing to highlight here, and then I'm going to close out the show. I actually said I was going to stop at 9, but look, the chat's been banging with me. Chat has been banging with me. And for you guys and gals and people out there, salute. All right? Salute to you. If you are an NFL rookie, one of the traditions that they do is have a rookie pay for the team dinner. I've never understood that, because if you're just kind of getting on and you're a rookie, so this is your first year in the league, you don't have the same type of wealth that an established player or a vet or somebody that's been in the league longer than, hey, I just got in has, right? If they've been managing their money properly. So the tradition of having the rookie pay for a team meal, I'll never get. I will never understand. And if I was a rookie, I ain't doing it. All right. But I'm going to play a clip. And I want y'all to let me know if this is something that you find appalling or it just comes with the territory. Let's take a look.
Hey, man.
Salty. I'm going to play that again and pause on the bill. All right. That says life of a rookie. That bill is $51,570. And as I was trying to look at the items that were on there, the itemized list on the receipt, I see two things that says Screaming E. Does anybody know what Screaming E is? Because one says 18,000 and the other says 17,500. So that's what, 35,500? Quick math. Okay. Look, I can do math, y'all. So 35,500 of that 51,000 came from two items. I wonder if that is some type of like special or if that was a drink. I'm going to look up Screaming E here. Screaming E drink. And see if I understand what this is. So there's a Screaming E cocktail. A Screaming E energy drink. Is there a Screaming E alcoholic beverage? Okay. I've never heard of it. But 51,500? No way. I'd be looking just like Look. Look. And let's go back, because 2 asparagus for $34? Hold up. Let's bring this receipt back up. Let's see if I can rewind this back. All right. What else is on here? 2 Red Bulls. Oh man. It's in the way. 3 Red Bull cans for $50 or $48. What's this here? I'm all zooming in. Can y'all see my pretty eyes? These hazel brown eyes. Let's see. 3 ribeyes that were cooked and stuffed for $446. 3 things of potato skins for $48. Hey, where's this restaurant at? And how do I own one? And what type of people are coming there like these sports players that they're willing to pay $48 for French fries? How much French fries and what type of gold flake things are being sprinkled on them for them to be worth $48? Okay? David Cunningham said that is not the Sizzler. It is a high-end restaurant. Hey, look, if you can't go to the Waffle House like Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, did, then we can't be friends. I was at the Waffle House this past Friday afternoon. It was my off day. I went to the VA to get my regular heart checkup. I stopped by the casino, made me a little change playing the slots. And I spent some of my winning casino money at the Waffle House the same way that Trevor Lawrence did after they beat the LA Chargers, okay? Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback for the Jaguars, is a man of the people. If you can go to the Waffle House, which is what I used to do back in high school after Friday nights, I would either go to the Waffle House or Burger King, okay? If we voted, I would always be like, hey, y'all, man, let's go to the Waffle House. That is my spot, all right? Brussels sprouts, $34. 2 asparagus, $34. 1 order of shrimp, $72. Whatever oyster, what's this? Charge oysters? 3 things of oysters for damn near $100. I want that kind of money. I want that kind of money. And the Cupid's Choice, I think like the Cupid's Choice is like a predetermined type of meal. Cause no, Cupid's Choice has to be a drink because there's 12 of them, and they were like $4 each. Cause I see Cupid's Choice, Sweet Petite, and Blue Point. No, cause drinks ain't that cheap. Drinks are not that cheap. Just like look. There's no way. It doesn't make sense to spend that kind of money. Ice said that Prime 112 restaurant in Miami Beach, Florida, is that what that's from? Hey, man. Is that what it's from? Let me see. Let's see if I can take a look at what the bottom of the receipt said. Yep, Prime 1. Hey, look at the investigator over there. I missed all of that. Prime 112. Prime 112 out of Miami, Florida. All right. Have y'all been to Miami? I've been once. I didn't stay in Miami, though, because it was expensive. I went on Memorial Day to Hollywood, California, and then made my way into Miami. Which, for those of y'all that don't know, if you are ever down in Miami on Memorial Day, it can get ignorant. My sports tie to that is this. LeBron James was on the Miami Heat the year that it was the playoffs, and I forget who they were playing, but the group of guys who I went with wanted to go catch that Miami Heat playoff game and see LeBron James play. And it was like a game 6 or game 7. And I said, there's no way we're going to be able to get tickets the day of that are going to be reasonable that would make it worth it for me to go. And I was kind of broke traveling too. I kind of had the money, but I'm like, if it's going to cost me $500 because it's a playoff game to sit in nosebleed seats, I ain't doing it. So I decided not to do it. I stayed at the beach and had a good old time. Well, 2 of the 4 guys who I traveled with decided to make their way down to the Miami Heat arena, see if they could find tickets, and they did. They didn't pay an arm, leg, a kidney, and gave up a half pint of blood. They actually paid fairly market rate prices for the seats that they sat in, and they took a selfie with their damn camera and sent it to me and the other guy that didn't go, showing that they made it in. And as proof, because I questioned how little or how much they actually paid for the tickets, they showed proof of how much they paid as well. And it would have been an amount that I was worth paying for. I want to say it was $105. And they weren't quite a nosebleed either. They had a pretty good seat that had a pretty good view of the game. And LeBron and them won that game. I was salty. Salty. All right. We have an update on the Ravens Bengals game. Let's see what the update is. Update is still 9-7 from what I'm looking at. Timeout called due to injury inside of 2 minutes. But the Ravens got the ball. Y'all hear how surprised I'm sounding right now? At the, what is this? The 5-yard line on 2nd and 1? Yo, Ravens are knocking at the door. All right. Let me get this ticket off the screen. $51,000 for a meal. I ain't doing it. I'm not doing it. Okay? We got the Ravens knocking at the door. Color me surprised. Somebody earlier in the stream asked me if I thought that the Ravens had a chance tonight, and I said no, even though the Baltimore Ravens are my team. Look who's wrong. Look who is wrong. All right. Let's take a look at the chat here. See what we got going on. Heath Barlow said, I hauled several loads to a Cuban American company in Miami. It was well worth it and very nice people. Speaking of, let me tell you, if you ever do get the chance to go to Miami, go down there. The culture in that city was amazing. Amazing. All right. There is a plethora. Look at y'all. I can use big words. A plethora of amazing, fantastic people. The food. Mwah. Look, I like to eat. I'm not a small dude. King likes to eat. I use myself in the third person. And the amazing food that I had down there was fantastic. I went into a sports bar to watch the game, and I was in there with the guy who I was with and these two ladies that were around us as well. And the ladies covered the meal and drinks. All right. I don't know why they did, but because we were there just to have a good time, they decided to pay the favor. All right. And cover our meals and drinks. And I am not one to say no to a free meal. Plain and simple. And King talks in the third person. Yes, I do. So if there's any spot that y'all would recommend to check out in Miami that don't have those prime 112 prices, let me know. I'll splurge on myself. I will splurge on myself. Absolutely. You would catch me go to Fogo de Chao or Ruth's Chris in a heartbeat. So I like my steaks. All right. I wanted to have this video of last Wednesday. I'll probably just play it on the Sports Bar Facebook page. Go over there and check that out. It is the page that myself and a guy by the name of Coach manages. You know, it's affiliated and a part of WTF Nation Radio here. I had an opportunity to use VetTix.com to go to a Washington Wizards game this past Wednesday. Now, for those of y'all that don't know about VetTix or VetTix and have never heard of it, but VetTix is I believe it's a nonprofit, but what it is it's like a marketplace for tickets that are primarily donated that eligible veterans and military members can use. I don't know the full criteria of who's eligible, but I know you do have to provide proof of like your veteranship. Is veteranship a word? You have to provide proof of veteranship. Hey, assistant, play my music. Let me know if that music's too loud. So it is a nonprofit. I'm going to have to take that because I don't believe that the music is controllable. I have to work on my mixer. But VetTix is a nonprofit, and they have like lotteries or open events. And if there's a ticket that somebody has either donated or they've gotten a supply of tickets for an event from, you can go and sign up to receive a ticket for the event. So I took that opportunity on VetTix and saw that there was a Washington Wizards versus the Chicago Bulls game, and made my way from where I live in Central Maryland down to Washington, D.C., and went to the Washington Wizards game. And let me tell y'all, that was my first NBA game. With VetTix, you don't know what seat you're going to have until you claim the ticket. And when I did, I was 6 rows from the floor, essentially. So I had some really amazing seats. And I recorded my adventure at the stadium at Capital One Arena down in downtown DC. And being a part of my first NBA game was fantastic. Okay. So I like to thank VetTix for that opportunity to attend my first NBA game relatively free of charge. They do seek donations as you accept a ticket, and sometimes you have to pay like a transfer fee to receive the ticket. But I checked the market rate for that ticket and it was like 100 and something bucks. So to pay like a $8 transfer fee, and all I had to do, my only expense was my gas getting there, parking in DC, which was about 8-9 bucks for 4 hours, and the ticket transfer free. I would have only spent 20 something bucks to get there, catch my first NBA game, and whatever, $15 popcorn I decided to buy inside of the stadium. So VetTix is an amazing deal. Like the sports bar coach said, you just have to verify your service through ID Me. And once they determine your eligibility, take advantage of it. Okay. There's baseball tickets. I'm going to, check out some baseball games that are offered through VetTix in my area. There's concerts, comedy shows, all kinds of things. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to say thank you to VetTix right now because I'm going to use that opportunity to attend sports shows live and then bring that content back for social media. Talk about the experience of attending an NBA game, the Australia opening, right? That would be something dope. A football game, which I've been to several football games. College games, whether it's basketball or football, it's an experience like no other. If you have an opportunity to catch a college game, mostly football, basketball. I've been to a college soccer game. You don't have the same excitement that you have. And what's that sport with the racks? Why am I blanking on the sport right now? It's played on like a field. You've got the goals. They carry the sticks. And you shoot with the sticks. Lacrosse. Goodness gracious. Lacrosse, however you say it. I had a cousin that played on the Delaware State lacrosse team that had a pretty interesting story. Lacrosse. Thank you, the sports bar. All right. And Chris Leslie. One of my cousins played for Delaware State. And Delaware State is an HBCU or an historically black college. You can Google this news article as it was a big deal. Now, my cousin is not an African American. My cousin is one of the white players that played on the team. Okay. But there was an incident that occurred when they went to a tournament down in Georgia, and the Georgia Highway Patrol pulled the team bus over. Now, this team, I've met the players like somewhat. I haven't met them personally. I don't know them personally like that. But I went to go and watch my cousin play in the game with her family because it was a short drive for me from where I live to Delaware State. And the Georgia Highway Patrol pulled the team bus over in Georgia. Why would I say in Georgia and it's the Georgia Highway Patrol? Give myself a buzzer for that one. And the incident was recorded. And the parts that I didn't like about it were they came on board. They said that they were doing a safety inspection. All right. So this is a charter bus. Initially, they pulled the bus over for being in the wrong lane. And then you can hear the Georgia Highway Patrolman say that ask if there was any illegal items like weed on the bus or in their persons. And that if there was, they need to go ahead and fess up now. And it was, to me, an embarrassment, something that you just don't jump to conclusions on by the state troopers. it's a good thing that it was filmed because the version of the film that came from the players and the version that comes from the officer's dash cam doesn't tell the same story. And the report doesn't tell the same story either. So they pulled these girls' buses over. Their coach is a well respected lacrosse coach that had to calm her players down because it looked like they got profiled. Okay. I'm not speculating or making this up. What I am saying is to go read the article yourself. There were several different people that covered it. There were several different angles from the public release of the videos that came out, and it traumatized the kids. Traumatized them. All right. I can imagine being angry at the assertion that there's drugs and stuff on the bus. You have these young college females that get pulled over, and they just simply escalated it. In my opinion, it was unprofessional. Watching the video with objective eyes, I thought it was unprofessional. It led into my cousin transferring, and she's playing at a different school. And there's been some, the public had got a hold of the story, thank goodness. And I think that proper restitution was accomplished in the updates. Okay. It is now halftime. And Chris said, look, I'm white and they'll speculate and it was racist. Look, I told the station manager that, I'm going to keep this show sports related and cover things and news related to sports. Was it racist? I don't know. I don't know. I do know that, or I think that it would have been different had I think the makeup of the girls on the bus been a little bit different. I think they would have just had decent common respect given to them because nobody was like loud. Nobody was disrespectful. The coach was the one primarily talking to the officers. And I think that the driver, had some things to say, as well. And the coach was just looking out for the protection of her players. Yet still, she said that the way that the highway patrolman kind of came about, she just wanted everybody to get home. Just simply wanted everybody to get home. Okay. And Casey Gray said that they found the video and that they went in with the intent of trying to harass him. Hey, yeah. Yep. In the Ravens game, it is halftime, 10-0. I'm sorry, 10-9. Did not see that coming. I did bet on this game. I bet against my Ravens. And if the Ravens pull this off, I'm going to lose $80. Okay? So it is weird being somebody that bets on sports, taking a look at stats and odds and things like that, and sometimes betting against your own team because you don't think that they'll win. Yeah, I bet $80 that the Baltimore Ravens would lose against somebody that's a Cincinnati Bengals fan. I'm sorry. They're a Ravens fan as well. And yeah, I think I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose. Michelle said that I bet against Baltimore. Yes, I did. Ha! Yes, I did. Casey Gray said that I hope that there's still an investigation going on for that actual crap has been going on. Yep. I don't know how it fully ended. I'm actually going to be talking to my cousin, the dad of the young girl, sometime soon. And I'm curious what the update was on that as well. And I said that he's got my back and that, yes, it was racist. Okay. Yes. Chris said I'm going to lose 80 and my woman is going to smack me. Yeah, she might. She might be thoroughly disappointed. Oh, even she says, yes, I am shocked, appalled, and extremely disappointed. Oops. And did I bet against my team when they played against the Steelers last week? Did I bet against the Ravens when they played against the Steelers last week? Who won that game last week? Wait, no, it wasn't. They didn't play the They played against the Bengals last week. This is a rematch of the same game. Casey Gray said that I'm afraid to cross lines nowadays. Being on the road, because I do a lot of traveling. I do a lot of driving. A lot of driving. And you have to be careful. Okay. I've had a majority positive experience out on the road. Okay. My girl will also tell you, my lady, she is a lady. She's grown. She'll tell you, I also drive like I'm driving Miss Daisy. I put my cruise control at about 3 over whatever the speed limit is, and I have that adaptive cruise control, and I just ride, kick on the tunes, throw on some podcasts, and I'm enjoying the road. If I wasn't doing my current job in the Department of Veterans Affairs, I would likely be a truck driver. Have a chance to be on the open road and make money, sign me up for that. Sign me up. Yes, the Ravens did lose to the Steelers on New Year's Day. I remember that now. Yes, we did. Hold up. Hold up. I wish I could highlight messages. I have to figure that out. Snails move faster than me behind the wheel. I don't take offense to that because that is true. That is true. I drive like I have nowhere to be, and I walk like I have nowhere to be as well. Which is why it's interesting that when people see me run, I actually move. I still got some wheels at 38. I'll challenge some of these young kids. Hey, look, if anybody out here, there is a kid, or they think that they can beat me themselves in a 40-yard dash, let's go. We can film it and put it on the stream one day. At 38 years old, I can still move now. I can still move. I'm not going to be the athletic kid. Don't get me wrong. Some of these kids got wheels. All right. But I can still move now. Casey Gray said, I got a lead foot, but I can afford the ticket. I'm going to tell y'all what I drive. I drive a Ford Fusion Hybrid. Why am I saying that? A, it's great on gas. B, it don't have the same get up and go the way that my prior car did, which was a Dodge Charger. I had a V6 Charger. Trying to save money, I had the opportunity to get between the V6 and the V8. And I told myself the V6 was a little bit cheaper and going to be better on gas. So I went with the V6. No, I had a neighbor that had the same model, but it was a V8. We paid the same in gas as his miles per gallon was the same as my miles per gallon. But that Charger could go. I missed that. I named my Charger Wraith. That Wraith could move. My hybrid does not move the same way that the Charger did. But I used to get tickets all the time in my Charger. It seemed like once a month I was getting a ticket for something. And here around Maryland, they got speed cameras. I also never lived in a state that had as many damn speed cameras as Maryland does. Okay? And if you don't use an app that shows you where those speed cameras are, yeah, you're going to rack up them tickets left and right. Since I have gone from my Charger to my Ford Fusion Hybrid, 0 tickets in 2 years. I think when you have a fast car or a car that's got some power, you want to drive fast. You need to drive fast. You have the need for speed. And that's how I was in my Charger. 0 tickets now that I've been in my Fusion. I said that he loved the Fusions. Do you drive a Fusion, Ice? I love it. The technology in it is fantastic. I have a 2020 Ford Fusion Hybrid, the SE model. Fantastic with tech. People that get in it, because I also keep it clean too, they say, wow, this is a nice car. And I'm like, thank you. I get no compliments the way that my Charger used to. But you know what? They weren't paying my lease either. My lease either. Not a lease. What's that thing called? They weren't paying the bill. When you do live streams, people, let me tell you, sometimes when you're going off script and improving, Thinking and talking don't necessarily work the same. Y'all will find that out about me quickly. Sometimes I can't chew gum and walk. I'll have to stop and chew gum, otherwise I would trip. Casey Gray said that my ex used to do that to our kids. He's a big boy, but can take off running. Yes. Hey, some of them dudes now. All right, because I wasn't always a big boy. I would consider myself athletic still. All right. Don't let the beer belly fool you. And Casey Gray, I did not know you were a lady. My bad. He said it's hard to see the avatars here on the screen. The Chargers are the first team in NFL history to have a +5 turnover ratio in a game and still lose. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Let's go back to that logo. Do I have that logo up still? I'm not going to go back to it. I might mess up. I might press the wrong button and stop the stream. And Michelle said that my car encourages grandpa driving skills. Hey, 0 tickets though. 0 accidents either. Unless I'm hitting something on the road. Coming back from the Wizards game. Oh, let me finish my Wizards game story. Okay. So I did go there. I enjoyed the game. The Wizards won by 3. It was a buzzer beater almost at the very end that could have tied it up. But the Wizards scored with like 2 seconds left to go up 3. I got it on camera. Fantastic, right? Game ends. I'm going home. Hit something on the road about 20 minutes from the house at 10:30 at night. Okay? The hybrid does not have a spare tire. It's a good thing I have good insurance. Called emergency roadside. Was talking to Michael Carasquillo of Pop Culture Warrior while I was sitting on the side of the road because he didn't live, too far from where I was at. Kept me company, And Michelle as well. I let her know that, I was safe. Being that it was 10:30 at night and I hit some on the road I couldn't see, caused me to get a flat tire on my driver's side rear tire. So here I am thinking this sucks because it's a Wednesday night. I had to be at work the next day. I work from home, but that's neither here nor there. But I still had to get home. So after the tow company came and picked me up, which my insurance app was fantastic, by the way. I logged in, pressed the button for emergency roadside service, pressed the button for tow, pressed the button that said where I wanted to go. 5 minutes later, the tow driver called me, told me he was 40 minutes out. So I was sitting in my car watching YouTube videos coming from the Washington Wizards game while I was waiting on the tow truck to come because my car does not have a spare. The hybrid trunk space doesn't allow for it. You do not get a spare inside of those cars. So after the tow driver came and picked me up, now how am I getting home? Thank goodness I live in a market where Uber is popular. Because there's some states, if you live in rural areas or whatnot, like my hometown doesn't have Uber. So, I would have had to, call somebody to come and pick me up or whatever, or walk home. But like I said, I was like 20 miles from my house at 11 o'clock at night, 10:30, 11 o'clock p.m. So I'm not walking. Ain't no way. And it was kind of chilly that day too. And I had something that occurred earlier that walking would have sucked. Let me just say that. I won't get into it, but yeah, there was no way I was going to walk. So I went to the nearest store after I dropped my car off and waited on the Uber to come and pick me up. 4 Uber drivers canceled on me because they saw where I was being picked up to where I was going and said, I ain't making that drive. The 5th driver on Uber was the one who actually came. He said that he saw that it was a long ride and it was what it was. And I made sure that I tipped him well. All right. So what turned into a $20 event, how I told y'all at the beginning, when I started that journey, I paid $8 for the transfer fee on VetTix, about $8 in parking, and then gas down and back was about $4 in fuel. So you could say what should have been $20 for that sports event turned into about $230 something total, because when the tire place called me the next day, my tire was not repairable. So I had to get a new tire, and the fee for the tire plus service and all of that stuff was $160. The Uber ride from the tire place Wednesday night to my house was $35 plus I tipped $10. Okay. So that's 45 right there. And then I paid a friend of mine to drive me from my place to the tow truck place and offered him $30, to which he accepted. Okay. So it should have been $20. Turned into about 230 to 240 bucks, which would have been what I would have paid for the ticket alone if I just didn't go through VetTix. I'm not salty. It could have been worse, but I still had a fantastic day. I saw an old buddy of mine that I was stationed with as well. Hadn't seen this person in over 15 years. And I heard somebody call me by my old name. I started this stream by telling y'all that my government name is indeed King. King is my legal name. I was not always born King. Okay, I changed my name in 2013. I'm not going to say what I changed it from, but it was a very popular name. Let's just say Key and Peele had a skit. And in that skit, one of the popular names that they named was one of my names. All right. So I'm going to check the comments here and get ready to close the stream. I did make it to 2 hours. Yo, Casey Gray, I think you were the one who suggested. Salute to you. I am going to have it to where we can have people call in, give sports updates, sports stories, and things like that. That is going to be something that we're going to do here on this show. I don't have the capability for that now, but be on the lookout for that. I want the engagement from the listeners, the viewers on the sports bar each time we go live. All right. Michelle said that she speeds because it's in her blood, not because of the car that you drive. And he said Ice still has his first car. It's a horse and a buggy. Yo, that's a your old joke. Ice, don't take that from Heath. Chris said, all right, King, serious note. Who's going to win the Super Bowl and where's it going to be played at? So the Super Bowl is going to be played in Arizona this season. I do know that. Michael Carasquillo from Pop Culture Warrior is going to be there for Super Bowl Media Day. So one of WTF Nation Radio's own. He's not going from WTF Nation Radio. All right. And I think he announced that. If he didn't announce it, oops, my bad. But yes, Chris, the game is going to be played in Arizona this year. Who do I have? Well, there was a video that this one guy predicted, and I can't play it because it has copyrighted music on it. But this one guy predicted it was going to be the Eagles versus the Bengals, and he made a pretty convincing argument for it. And until this game, I kind of believe that if Cincinnati don't turn things around, the Bengals aren't going to make it. If you're going to ask me to give a prediction, this is who I am going to predict. I believe out of the NFC, it is going to be San Francisco. San Francisco just looks good on both sides of the ball. They play fantastic defense, and I don't see anybody disrupting that. And that dude, Purdy, the quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant, the last person in last year's draft, the rookie that nobody heard about, the third-string quarterback that is now balling out, all he has to do is not mess up, which in that 49ers offense, they're a run-first type of offense, right? All he has to do is be what Peyton Manning was when the Denver Broncos won that year. Don't have turnovers. Let the defense do what they do and win the Super Bowl. So that's who I have coming out of the NFC. Who I have coming out of the AFC, I would have said Buffalo. But the way that they struggled against the Dolphins, I'm going to give it to the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to come out of the AFC. Philly looked good in the NFC, but the way that their defense has looked lately, I can't give it to them. With Jalen Hurts leading that offense, you could tell he's the MVP of that team. They struggled offensively without Jalen Hurts for the Eagles. I don't think he's fully healed, and that's why I can't give it to the Eagles. Had they had a healthy Hurts, I would have said the Eagles out of the NFC. But The AFC, I think it's the Chiefs to lose. Even without Tariq Hill, Patrick Mahomes is balling. All right. If you want to give my nod to MVP, I think it's Pat Mahomes. That's who I'd vote for. All right. What other questions do we have? Let's see. All right. I got to scroll down here. Okay. Ricky Bobby lied about the spare. Ricky Bobby got any more calls? Got any more of them calls? Casey Gray said that you love Geico. Hey, that's who I have. I used to have USAA for my auto insurance. My rates were a lot higher than what I thought it should be. So I insurance shopped around and went with Geico. Geico was like substantially cheaper. When I called USAA after I got my quote from Geico, they didn't believe what my rate was. So they asked to see the declaration page because they were going to try to match what they had. Because I had been a USAA auto insurance person since like 2009. That's when I got back overseas from Okinawa. And I've been with USAA ever since. So I was kind of salty to lose them as my auto insurance. But when I say I've saved like half on my premiums, it was legit half. Literally 51%. All right, that's more than half. But 51% on my premiums. It didn't make any sense to me. Make any sense. So when I showed the insurance person my declaration page through USAA, they said, yeah, we can't match that. Same market. All right. I had been a loyal customer with them. I had one insurance claim. All right. I did total the car, avoiding Bambi, but we ain't going to talk about that. One claim since I'd been with them in 2009 and had my insurance slashed by half with Geico. And Geico's app has been fantastic. All right. Casey Gray said, I bought a Flex in Kentucky one day when the idiot Ford died. Can't wait to tell that story. Hey, I'm going to write that down, Casey Gray, and we're going to bring that back up. And Michael Carrasquillo said, it seems like I did have 2 hours worth of content tonight. That's an inside joke. And I thank you for letting me know. And Casey Gray said, damn typos. Look, I have typos all the time. I have typos when I talk. Okay? I have typos when I talk. So don't worry about the typos when you type. Michael Carrasquillo said he better be the first caller. All right. Hey, what's some of y'all's picks for the Super Bowl? And then we are going to close out the show. We have 49ers Chiefs, which is who I had also said as well. See, great minds. We think alike. All right. Casey Gray said, add AAA with your insurance and you can't go wrong. I don't know anything about AAA. This is why I like doing these shows. You can get opinions and things from other people to go look at, do your own research and see if it can help you out. All right. Car and renters insurance through USAA, and then with Farm Bureau, that's what, $65 cheaper, $55 cheaper from $130 to $75. Man, see, I don't understand it. Look, here on the Sports Bar, you're not just gonna get sports and sports entertainment news. You're also gonna learn that you can save money by switching car insurance. That is not an ad, Ice. I hope I don't get in trouble with that. All right. Michelle said typos while talking. Now that's her true talent. Absolutely. All right. And to have the ability to pay under $100 for all the bells and whistles, give me that. Chris has the Bills going to the Super Bowl from the AFC, and then the rest I don't know. Okay, so Philly, New York, 49ers, or the winner of that Dallas-Tampa Bay game tomorrow. Who do you have out of that lineup from the NFC? If Jalen Hurts wasn't hurt, I'd go number 3, Tampa Bay, 2, Philly, and 1, San Francisco. Those, I think, are the top 3 teams out of the teams that are left in the NFC. We got Niners all the way? Okay. I need to clip that ad for Geico, tag them, maybe get sponsored. Hey, thank you for the suggestion. Ooh, Michelle said the fact that no one in the chat has faith in the 49ers is breaking her wee little heart. Before I end the stream, let's get a score update and then we out. Chris said Dallas versus 49ers. Or Dallas or 49ers. My bad. Dallas or 49ers. Okay. At 8:55 in the third quarter, Cincinnati has the ball. They are down one still. And I don't think anybody saw this coming. See, did I do a tongue twister? She said, nope. I said Ravens. Told y'all I have typos while talking. It's a talent. It is a true talent. All right. And I don't trust the little lizard, the Geico lizard. Hey, that little lizard's been doing all right for me so far. I've had 2 roadside claims, and in both of those claims, it's been easy breezy. Driver showed up, told my car, drove off. Said maybe 6 words total. All right. He says he pays $27 a month for auto, but I have a clean record and a CDL Class A license. Hey, do you get cheaper insurance for having a CDL Class A? I'm going to tell you what King's about to do. King's about to go study and get his Class A CDL, see if I can knock my insurance down. How do you do that? What's the secret? Let me know. Let me know. I'm always trying to save money. Gotta be a mill lizard, not a regular one. I like Casey Gray. Casey Gray, please keep coming back to the sports bar. Next to Michelle, you are my second favorite person on this show. CQ, you're a distant third, my man. I like you. But Casey Gray is my second favorite. Hey, look, I would like to thank y'all for rocking with me on the sports bar tonight. All right. If this is your first time checking out the show, thank you. The sports bar will be live every Sunday, hopefully, at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern. I am eventually going to have a co-host. I'm eventually going to have a call-in show as well so that you, the viewers, can come in and we can talk sports together. All right. You could have been doing any other thing, but you chose to be here. So to everybody in the chat, salute. WTF Nation Radio offers an array of live streams that start at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time Zone throughout various days of the week. I don't know all the shows just yet, but tune in and see if you like it and if it is for you. Okay? I appreciate y'all tuning in, and I will be back next week. Salute.